welcome to the show. We're going to go so deep today.
Really deep.
Really deep. This is Deep, Deeper, Deepest, and our guest today is
Holly.
Amani.
Will.
And Holly is going to introduce herself using only 5 adjectives.
Okay.
I would say easygoing.
Slay.
Wanting to discover things.
Chaotic.
Short. I feel like that's a really big defining character for myself.
Fun-loving.
I think I'm situationally funny.
Detailed, I don't know, committed.
Energetic.
Caring.
Fun.
Interested.
Determined.
Those are some good words. Are you ready for our deep question?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Maybe. We'll see.
So our deep question is, are there any fears that you faced since childhood that you still struggle with?
Yeah, I would say maybe just like general like body image issues.
Bugs. And it feels so stupid because it's like they're everywhere.
Clowns.
That's like one of those things I feel like you'll never really get over.
Yeah.
Like you can always be like working towards it or improving on your body image or just like self-image in general, like a lot of things like without of yourself. But yeah, just like I guess general self-confidence, but like I said, for me, it's like specifically body image. But yeah, and I feel like that's a fear that can never really be conquered, but you're always like getting better at dealing with it and learning to love yourself.
Just my childhood memories. Like one day my cousin, she got stung by like a hornet. It was like weird. It like shot at her from an ankle. It was kind of crazy. But they're just always around and they creep up on you. Yeah. And that's what's annoying. If you think you're safe, there's a spider on you.
I don't know where it came from. It's just one day it just clicked and I just didn't want to have anything to do with it.
All right, Holly, are you ready for our deeper question?
Yes.
Have you ever faced a fear head on and overcome it?
Yes.
Maybe one thing that came to mind was like learning to drive.
I've always had anxiety issues.
I feel like people have kind of been almost trying to like attack me for either who I am, things that I can't change, or things that like I've made very clear are like kind of insecurities of mine that I'm like actively working on.
And it wasn't necessarily like the vehicle itself, but I think just like the process and everything that it took was what was kind of fearful, because it was like a really long and drawn out process when it shouldn't have been.
And it really peaked in middle school to the point where I would not be at school a lot because as soon as I got there, I would just start, I would have a panic attack and there was nothing to stop it because I have neurological disorder, which causes panic attacks associated with me being sick or getting sick. I had this fear of just being sick all the time. If my stomach made a noise or felt funny, something out of the normal, my brain would automatically go to worst case scenario, something bad's about to happen, and then the panic would start and I wouldn't be able to stop it.
So there's just been a few times in my life where I have had to like stand up for myself, and like I feel like I'm in general pretty good about that and like putting myself first. Yeah. But I think when it's someone that you really care about and like someone that like is really close to you, you're almost scared to like confront someone about an issue or like be like, hey, I feel like you're attacking like something that's like a part of me. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's just really important to like to do those things and confront those fears, those people, because at the end of the day, it's gonna make your relationship better. It's gonna make your relationship with that person and yourself better.
But I drive today. I kind of love to drive. My friends kind of know me as the one that likes to drive, so I guess I overcame it pretty well.
That's something that, most people will grow out of. As you get older, you start to see it from a different perspective, and I think that really opens up an opportunity to understand why you were scared of it. And so I think as I've gotten older, I don't find them, scary anymore. However, there's still that sense of unsettlement, like just in the back that, you've grown up feeling that way for so long, that's something you're not going to completely get rid of.
Right. I love that. So do you definitely feel like that's like it's a fear that is still present, but it's kind of like more in the background than it used to be?
Yeah, like I said, I feel like it's very like ups and downs, highs and lows. Like I'm a very like I said, I'm very emotional. So like I'm kind of like a moodier person, like when it comes to like how I feel about certain things, or like I guess how I deal with certain things. So yeah, I feel like every now and then, like I'll feel or I say every now and then, but it's like every hour to hour, I will feel a certain way about myself and then like another way. So it's just kind of like how you deal with it. But I'm definitely like working towards trying to have like a general mantra that I say to myself. And like, even if like your feelings get like overwhelmed with something, like there's like a rational part that like, you know, is going to like, what's real.
That's amazing. Are you ready for our deepest question?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. How do you think your upbringing and experiences have influenced your fears today?
This is a very topical question, I feel like.
Okay.
Because my roommate Maddie and I, we often joke about like the eldest sister complex. And I feel like that has been something that I've had to deal with for like a lot of my life, but I'm so grateful that I've had to deal with like a lot of those things, because I feel like it's really made me the person I am today. Like it's been very hard, like feeling like you've had to like hold this responsibility for like, you know, play this certain role in the family. And I feel like that role also bleeds into like a lot of my other relationships as well. And it's really like developed how I feel emotions and how I deal with things.
I think they're like a direct influence. Just knowing like my upbringing and like, I don't want to say things have happened, but like it's so crazy that you asked that, because I've been thinking about that lately and just like how I view authoritative figures in my life. But it's like, it's a direct reflection. Like a lot of the things that I'm scared of have come from me seeing other people be scared of that exact same thing.
I was taught as a kid, and how I've grown up, the way my parents, you know, taught me things and wanted me to grow up and behave myself in the manners I would use, was very supportive, you know, find a solution. But they also didn't want to take too much control. They wanted to make sure that I was being able to figure things out on my own and not just, you know, hold their hand the entire time. Like that's not something that would be feasible, you know, throughout my entire life. So, you know, they were there and they would help me when I needed it, but they also put a really big emphasis on, you know, can you figure this out before you come to us?
I feel like I've really learned to appreciate it. Like it used to like really plague me, but now I feel like I've come to a place where I am really grateful for how I was brought up and like the skills that I learned from it.
And I think that's just because of how I've established a relationship with authority figures. Right. So I like mimic and I model them kind of subconsciously. And I've been working on like trying to undo that. But I think noticing that, it kind of like removes a sense of security that I have with like, okay, if somebody in an authoritative position tells me something, like I'm going to take it as word. But knowing that like, oh, like you actually don't really know what you're doing either, and you're also just trying to figure it out. Like that has been a little bit unsettling to realize, but just knowing too that like I can make decisions for myself and like I can seek information out on my own. But it's quite literally a direct reflection. And I think when I notice like those patterns starting to form with things that I become fearful of, like I just try to work on fixing it as best I can.
I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, well, you've got to figure this out on your own. We can only help you so much. Yeah. And hearing that come from my parents, who are trying to do the best for me as they can, knowing that they've done what they can, I have to figure things out on my own, that really kind of set me in the right direction. So I'm really grateful for that, and how I think that's kind of left a lasting effect on how I try and deal with things, not only that I see with myself, but also if I'm trying to help someone else. You know, I want to apply that same mindset to help them be able to handle things on their own and grow as a person too.
Okay. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It has been amazing. And thank you all for watching. This has been
Deep,
Deeper,
Deepest.